It says we're live. Good morning, or wherever you are. Um,
Hey, good morning. Hang on one second. There we go. Hey, good morning, Andrea.
good morning, Doc. I
Huh?
think I think we already were live, but that's cool. You've got some beautiful blue skies behind you
Yeah.
today.
Well, good morning. How are you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. What's it like in Michigan?
Oh, it's going to be a nice day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's supposed to be warm out here today, too. It's been kind of cool. Actually, the other day it was kind of chilly. I
Yeah,
had to put a coat on.
that's cool. Yeah,
I
because
turned the heat on my car when I drove out here.
really, well, you're up in the mountains, right?
Yeah, but look at all this beautiful blue sky. I'm out in big sky country out in Montana.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm helping my buddy. We're making a hot rod out of a 1950 Studebaker.
Right up your alley.
Yeah. So, hey everyone, for all of you that are watching on Facebook right now, or those of you that are watching this video, the recording of this webinar, the beauty of this business is you can do the business from wherever you want to be. Isn't that wonderful, Andrea? I mean, last week or 2 weeks ago, you were at the lake when we did the call.
Yeah, I sat on the beach.
Sat on the beach. And here I am. I'm out in Montana. You can see in the background. I wanted to get this glacier in the background. Holy cow. You should see it. It never melts. And on the other side of that glacier, on the other side of the mountain, my buddy Terry and his brother Cal were telling me that ice is so thick and it's just a beautiful blue color.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah.
I've never been to Montana.
Yeah. So Glacier Park isn't far from here. It's about a 2-hour drive from where I'm at right now. But yeah. So for those of you that are on the call, give us a thumbs up. Let us know that where you're from, right? And today, Andrea, I want to continue talking a little bit about anti-aging.
I love that conversation.
Yeah. It's getting to be more and more mainstream every day.
It is. Everybody's jumping on the bandwagon that we started.
That's right. I get these newsletters, not just from, crazy people like you and me, but I get newsletters from the medical profession, and maybe they're the crazy people and we're the normal people, right? Right? I don't know. Sometimes I try and think, maybe we're the crazy ones, or maybe they're the crazy ones.
I have no comment.
I know you don't. But the newsletter that I read just 2 days ago, it was all about the medical profession basically slamming the people like us, the people that are doing alternative medicine, and they were saying that what we're doing is quackery.
Well,
It doesn't work.
I would have to say that's a little bit of projection.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It's unproven science, and so the bottom line is they're saying that they should control the industry.
They already tried that back in the 80s.
No, they're going to try it more. They're coming out with an anti-aging drug now.
Right. Well, here's the deal. They take natural substances, they change the molecular structure and make it something that is not natural to our bodies. And then they spend billions of dollars getting it approved. And then it comes out and you hear a commercial that's 60 seconds long, 30 minutes about, or 30 seconds about the product, 30 seconds of contradictions to using the product. And they say that they're doing the right thing. Plus, nothing they bring out cures anything.
Yeah, and then 2 years later, then you got a bunch of commercials on TV with the attorney saying, "Hey, we'll help you sue them for the side effects."
Right.
I mean, come on, where's the sense in that, Andrea?
No, it's reverse common
It
sense.
does. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I look at that and I just kind of cringe at it. But when you start seeing the establishment, the medical establishment, coming out with their science on it and their take on it, it means that it's going mainstream.
Right.
That's what it means to me. Is that it's going mainstream, and whether we like it or not, they will try and control the industry.
Right. But you did a great interview with Tom Jr. the other day that basically he was explaining he wasn't doing it on purpose, but he was just sharing how Sizzle operates. And it was basically the integrity of Sizzle.
That's right. Integrity. Because that makes a huge difference. Hello?
That's my timer so I can drink my hydrogen water.
Oh, okay. I thought somebody was calling you. But so when we look at all of that and we start accepting that the medical profession is going to try and get into what we're doing, and we start accepting that they're going to come out with drugs and things like that, that means that we're on the right track.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So today, Andrea, I wanted to talk about some science, some real science. When you take a look at the science, the 1998 or the 2009 Nobel Prize, 10 years ago, 2009 Nobel Prize. It was given to a group of scientists. Elizabeth Blackburn was one of them, but there was a group of scientists, and they had discovered this telomere enhancing ingredient.
Right. What's that called? Astragalus?
Astragalus. Yeah. So you take an extract from astragalus. Astragalus is a weed that grows over in China, and you extract it. You take a garage size amount, and you once you extract the actives, and you concentrate it, you take 12,000 pounds and you end up with 2.4 pounds.
Wow. It's a good way to get rid of weeds.
Right. And so a lot of companies, they'll say, oh, we got astragalus in our product too. So they're taking that 12,000 pounds, they're taking a little bit of it, they're drying it out, and they're putting in their product, and they say, oh, we have that astragalus in ours too.
That's like, what does Tom say? You can't wave a chicken over a pot.
Waving a chicken over a pot of water, right?
And make it chicken soup.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. But that's what these companies are doing. And so the difference between what they're doing and what we're doing, we're actually taking that concentrated, that 12,000 pounds, extracting the actives, when we're ended up with just a kilo of it. And that's less than 2.5 pounds. And that's what goes in our product. The extract is like $84,000 per kilo.
Wow.
But you can see why, because it takes a lot to extract that from all of that astragalus root.
Right.
So we're ending up with the cycloastragalol and the other astragaloside. There's two astragalosides that we're using, and those are the main actives. Those are the two primaries. And then we're also adding things like resveratrol, and we're adding a bacopa, right? A bacopa, some people call it. And bacopa is a weed that comes from India, and they found that supports telomeres as well.
So another perfect formulation.
Right. So we've got a great formulation. So I just want to throw that out there first, is that, so as Andrea and I are talking, you'll know about the product that we're going to be talking about just by what we said so far. So we've got the most potent product on the market for supporting telomeres. In my opinion, that's what I'm going to say.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah, have we tested it? Have we taken it and tested it and done all these tests on it to prove it? No. So that's why I say it's in my opinion, Andrea.
Right. That's what we have to say.
Yeah. So as we talk about this, let's look at what we're really talking about. What are telomeres?
They're like, if you look at the shoestrings in your tennis shoes, if you still have that kind, they have a little cap on the end so you can get it through the hole. Well, telomeres are kind of like the cap on the end of your DNA strands. So it's like something that as the cell reproduces and does things, it slowly breaks away and it gets shorter and shorter.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that do?
Yeah. So yeah, like Andrea just said, think of it like that little plastic tip. I forget what are those called? That little plastic tip on your shoelace.
I don't know. Little plastic tip.
Yeah, I know. That little plastic tip. Yeah, it actually has a name to it. But so as your shoes get older, that little plastic tip, unless you're wearing Velcro shoes like Andrea does, but if you're wearing shoes with shoelaces, I had to throw that in there, Andrea. I'm teasing you.
I know. Because I don't have Velcro shoes.
But when you're looking at that like these old shoes, a pair of old shoes, old tennis shoes, that little plastic tip wears off in the shoelace, and the end of the shoelace starts to unravel, doesn't it?
Yes. Then you can't.
Okay. So your DNA, if you remember your DNA from high school chemistry or college chemistry, it's these strands of proteins and amino acids that are wound together, right? That double helix that they call it. And so it's wound together and it's bound together with these nucleotides called telomeres. And like Andrea said, when you're born, you have a certain number. Actually, when you're conceived, you have the highest number, and then your body, as you are being formed, you burn up a third of these nucleotides called telomeres. You burn up a third of them just going from conception to being born. A third, 1/3 of them, 33%.
1/3 is gone when you're born.
That's right. And then from the day you're born until you get older, and it depends on the person how fast you burn them. But what happens is you burn off these nucleotides. So like Andrea was saying, it's like clipping a little bit off, and as it clips it, that telomere gets shorter and shorter and shorter, and it's going to get to a certain point where it can't support the cell being healthy anymore.
Right.
And the scientists figure that's about another third. So when it gets to you burnt off a third from conception to birth, and now you burn up another third from birth till old age. And when it gets to that final third, that's when your telomere can't support life anymore.
And that cell dies.
Then the cells start to die. They can't replenish. They can't rebuild. And so that's where the problem is. And some people, I mean, Andrea, some people that, that you probably went to high school with, that they aged quickly, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, you never know how old you look. So it's like you meet people that I went to my 35th class reunion and I just didn't know who all those old people were.
That's right. And so some people age faster because their telomeres, their telomerase, it reacts faster. So they're clipping that off at a faster pace. Some people might have good genetics, but they have a crappy lifestyle.
Yeah, and
if you smoke, if you drink, if you're under high stress, if you don't get exercise, what happens is that it makes you burn faster too.
Right.
So
Environmental.
you're in really poor condition if you're a person that your telomeres are burning off faster just because of genetics. So if genetically you're in bad shape, tough shape, and then on top of it, you have a poor lifestyle too.
Yeah.
So now you're gonna age really quickly.
Yep. You'll burn off those. They're called aglets. On,
Yep,
sh- on shoelaces, they're called aglets.
aglets. All right. So you don't want to be that person that's burning those up really quickly unless and what I'm going to say is that some people tell me, oh, Kurt, I don't want to live old. I just want to, be healthy. Well,
Wow.
if you're not taking care of your telomeres, which are considered to be, anti-aging medicine, you might still live to be old, but you're not going to be very healthy.
Right, because your cell can't do the work to regenerate.
Yeah. So those are some important factors when we're talking about this, is that we have to look at all of that. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to eat right, because you know what, Andrea? Yeah, you can have some telomere support from fish oil. You can get some telomere support from vitamin E. You can get some telomere support from exercise, going to the gym. You can get some from your diet. You can get some from these different things. But really, bottom line is that if you want to have the healthy telomeres, you have to get those ingredients that Andrea and I were talking about earlier.
Yeah, can you imagine, like, if you started taking that when you were in your 20s and 30s?
Right. I was talking to this young couple last night at the steakhouse that my buddy Billy and I were at, and we were talking to this young couple, and they're just in their 20s, and they have kids, and I said that I did anti-aging medicine, and we were talking for a while, and they said, well, what do you have to do? And I said, well, if you want to stay young and healthy and vibrant for the rest of your life, I mean, nobody can guarantee anything. We can't say, oh, Andrea, you're going to stay just like you are for the rest of your life. But what we can do is we can say that you have a better chance.
Right. And then, we've talked before about, based on this science and other science, that people who are age 70, I believe, are actually biologically aging 2 days for every day they live.
Yep.
Right. So me deciding to fight that battle of aging, I am at least slowing it down.
You're at least slowing it down. Yeah. And isn't that important?
Well, it is to me. It is to my grandkids.
It is to your grandkids. Yeah. And like I try and tell people, I would rather die at the age of 90, healthy all the way to the end, than live to be 120 and spend my last 30 years in a wheelchair, laying in bed or whatever.
Yeah, there was actually a time in life where I just mentally decided, hey, I want to check out at 75, because all I ever saw after 75 was a whole lot of pain and agony and sickness. And I'm like, who wants to go through that? So I had it set in my mind, I'm going to check out at 75. But my thinking has totally changed since I started to understand how we can support the body and keep it healthy longer.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, because if you can support the system that will keep you healthier for a longer period of time, why not?
Right.
Why not? Why not stay alive and healthy and be around? Because I really believe that and I think it's going to come back to this right now. The young kids, they think that they know more than us because they've really learned a lot more in school and that, but experience brings a lot of knowledge to the table as well.
Yep. Life experience.
And I think that we need to keep some elders around.
Yeah, definitely. And the older I get, the more I recognize the value of that, because as you get older, you can look back over the decades you lived and go think about what you were doing and thinking in your 30s or your 40s and going, what was I thinking? You know, and I think I've shared with you before, I think I've gained more knowledge in the last probably 8 years. I mean, my knowledge has just expanded so much.
That's right.
In the
And
last eight
part
years.
of it is because you've opened up your mind and you wanted to learn.
Well, that's true too, but I also recognized that when I was 39 and went back to college, and I'd sit in political science classes, or I'd sit in, you know, all kinds of different classes with much younger kids that were, you know, 18, 19. And the simplest things that you understand from life experience, they had no clue. You know, the
That's right.
instructor would be explaining things that you're just like, why don't they know this? You know, and I started to recognize, hey, it was my life experience that taught me that stuff.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So there's a reason right there. There's a reason right there that we want to stay healthy for a longer period of time, right?
Yeah, because they're wise.
Wise. That's why they came up with that term, wise old man, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or wise old woman. You know, and it wasn't because they were reading more books. It was because they'd had gone through the life experiences and so they could pass it on. You know, so folks, you know, as we're talking about this, you know, and Andrea, we kind of go off on a little tangent here and there, but you got to have a reason. Why would you want to just grow old?
Right.
You got to have a reason. And so my reason for wanting to live old is exactly what Andrea was just talking about, is that, you know, we want to pass on our knowledge. We want to pass on something to the next generation and the next generation.
Right. You know, so to recap, what you said today is that we have something called telomeres on the end of our DNA that look like the end of shoelaces, and that it gets used up as our body regenerates. And the shorter it gets, the less effective it is until it meets its death, right? And so we have a natural product that is highly formulated that will help lengthen, not only, we're going to say support those ends of the telomeres, but it's basically giving it nutritional support so that it can stay longer.
That's right. Andrea, what a great way to end the call with your explanation.
Well, you have fun out there.
We're having fun and we're going to be safe too.
Yes, good.
All right.
Blue skies.
All right. Well, I'll let you close out the call.
Okay.
So go ahead.
So join us every Tuesday with Doctor's Clinic, Dr. Fizz and Friends. It's a Facebook channel where we do lives every Tuesday at noon Eastern time. And you can tune in at that time, or have your friend invite you to that page, and you can go back and review any of the lives that we've done over the last, probably 8 to 9 months, and gain some great knowledge to optimize your health. So have a great Tuesday. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.